Hello explorers, welcome back to another exciting video and thanks for watching. In this video we shall be shining the light on some lesser known countries in Africa. We bet if you were asked to list 5 African countries at the top of your head, you'll probably mention Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, Ghana or even Mauritius, and this is probably due to the fact that these countries are always in the news or simply because they're economic giants of Africa. However, there are 54 sovereign countries in Africa, with each of these countries worthy of their own place and praise in the Hall of Fame. Despite Africa having 54 sovereign countries, there are some countries that are more popular while others are barely known. There are several factors that goes into making a country very popular. For instance, Nigeria is popular due to the fact that it's the most populous country in Africa and has the biggest movie industry on the continent. Egypt is popular for its rich history and pyramids, and even the fact that they are the champions of Africa when it comes to football. Seychelles and Mauritius are famous for their pristine sandy beaches, while Kenya and Tanzania are wildlife heaven. Despite the fact that these countries are more popular, it doesn't in any way mean that others are bad due to lack of attention from the public. If you are new here, welcome! Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. Some of the countries on this list are the least visited countries on the continent, which is probably why they are the least talked about. So in no particular order, here are the top 10 lesser known African countries. Number 1. Mauritania. Now let's begin with Mauritania. I bet most of you watching this video are probably hearing about this country for the first time, or you must have heard about the country but have no idea where it is located. Well, Mauritania is a country in Northwest Africa. It is the 11th largest sovereign state in Africa and is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean to the west, Western Sahara to the north and northwest, Algeria to the northeast, Mali to the east and southeast, and Senegal to the southwest. The country derives its name from the ancient Berber kingdom of Mauritania, which existed from the 3rd century BCE into the 7th century CE in the far north of modern-day Morocco and Algeria. Approximately 90% of Mauritania's land is within the Sahara. Consequently, the population is concentrated in the south, where precipitation is slightly higher. The capital and largest city is Nouakchott, located on the Atlantic coast, which is home to around 1/3 of the country's 4.4 million people. The official language of the country is Arabic, but Pola, Soninke and Wolof are widely spoken in the country. Mauritania is also the most Islamic country in the world, with almost 100% of the population being Muslims. Despite being rich in natural resources, Mauritania has a low GDP. A majority of the population still depend on agriculture and livestock for a livelihood. Even though most of the nomads and many subsistence farmers were forced into the cities by recurrent drought into the 1970s and 1980s. Mauritania has extensive deposits of iron ore, which accounts for almost 50% of total exports. Gold and copper mining companies are opening mines in the interior. Number 2. Djibouti. This country is situated on the Horn of Africa, almost at the same place where Somalia, Ethiopia and Eritrea are located, but most often it is always forgotten or mentioned last when listing countries in the part of the continent. Djibouti has a total area of 23,200 km². The state of Djibouti is predominantly inhabited by 2 ethnic groups, the Somalia and the Alpha people, with the former comprising the majority of the population. The country has a population of about 922,000 people and is the smallest country in mainland Africa in terms of surface area. The capital and largest city of the country is named after the country itself, Djibouti. Djibouti's economy is largely concentrated in the service sector. Commercial activities revolve around the country's free trade policies and strategic location as a Red Sea transit point. Due to limited rainfall, vegetables and fruits are the principal production crops, and other food items require importation. The GDP or purchasing power parity in 2013 was estimated at $2.505 billion, with a real growth rate of 5% annually. Per capita income is around $2,874. The services sector constituted around 79.7% of the GDP, followed by industry at 17.3% and agriculture at 3%. Djibouti's population is predominantly Muslim. Islam is observed by around 94% of the nation's population, approximately 740,000 as of 2012, whereas the remaining 6% of the residents are Christian adherents. Number 3. Guinea Bissau. Officially the Republic of Guinea Bissau, it is a country in West Africa that covers 36,125 square kilometers, that's 13,948 square miles, with an estimated population of 1,874,303 people. It borders Senegal to the north and Guinea to the southeast. Only about 2% of the population speak Portuguese, the official language, as a first language, and 33% of this population speak it as a second language. However, Creole is the national language and also considered the language of unity. The economy depends mainly on agriculture. Fish, cashew nuts, and groundnut are its major exports. Though the country is one of the poorest in Africa, it is still a very interesting country to visit. Football is the most popular sport in the country, and the current president of the country is Umaro Sissoco Embalo. Number 4. Eswatini. This country was formerly known as the Kingdom of Swaziland until 2018 when it was renamed Eswatini. This landlocked country is the southern part of Africa and is almost entirely surrounded by South Africa. It is one of the smallest countries in mainland Africa and has a population of about 1.1 million people. The capital and largest city in this country is Mbambane, and the official language is Swazi and English. King Mswati III is the current ruler of this small African nation. Eswatini's economy is diverse, with agriculture, forestry and mining accounting for about 13% of GDP. Manufacturing, textiles and sugar-related processing representing 37% of GDP, and services, with government services in the lead, constituting 50% of GDP. Title deed lands where the bulk of high-value crops are grown, sugar, forestry and citrus, are characterized by high levels of investment and irrigation and high productivity. Number 5. Sao Tome and Principe. Officially, the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe is an island country in the Gulf of Guinea, off the western equatorial coast of Central Africa. It consists of 2 archipelagos around the 2 main islands of Sao Tome and Principe, about 140 kilometers apart and about 250 and 225 kilometers off the northwestern coast of Gabon, respectively. The islands were uninhabited until their discovery by Portuguese explorers in the 15th century. Gradually colonized and settled by the Portuguese throughout the 16th century, they collectively served as a vital commercial and trade center for the Atlantic slave trade. The rich volcanic soil and close proximity to the equator made Sao Tome and Principe ideal for sugar cultivation, followed later by cash crops such as coffee and cocoa. The lucrative plantation economy was heavily dependent upon imported African slaves. The country has a population of about 230,000 people and a surface area of about 1,001 square kilometers. The capital and largest city of this island country is Sao Tome, and the official language is Portuguese. Agriculture, banking, tourism, and to a lesser extent petroleum are the main force behind the country's economy. Though the country is one of the least talked about countries in Africa, it has some of the most beautiful beaches on the continent. Number 6. Eritrea. Some of you might know or have heard of this country due to its conflicts with Ethiopia. Well, there is more to Eritrea than conflicts. Located on the Horn of Africa, Eritrea has a population of about 5.8 million people. Its capital and largest city is Asmara. We are not going to dwell much about this country because we have a dedicated video on Eritrea titled 10 Things You Didn't Know About Eritrea. Click on the card on the left hand corner to check it out. Number 7. Lesotho. Lesotho is another kingdom found in the southern part of Africa. It is an enclaved country within the border of South Africa. Along with the Vatican City and San Marino, it is one of the only 3 independent states completely surrounded by the territory of another country and the only one outstanding of the Italian peninsula. Lesotho is just over 30,000 square kilometers in size and has a population of around 2 million people. Its capital and largest city is Maseru. The official languages of Lesotho are Sesotho and English, and it is ruled by a king called King Letsi III. The economy of Lesotho is based on agriculture, livestock, manufacturing and mining, and depends heavily on inflows of workers, remittances, and receipts from the Southern African Customs Union. The majority of households subsist on farming. The former sector of employment consists mainly of female workers in the apparel sector, male migrant labor, primarily miners in South Africa for 3 to 9 months, and employment by the government of Lesotho, GOL. The western lowlands form the main agricultural zone. Almost 50% of the population earn income through informal crop cultivation or animal husbandry, with nearly 2/3 of the country's income coming from the agricultural sector. The percentage of the population living below USD purchasing power parity, $1.25 per day, fell from 48% to 44% between 1995 and 2003. Number 8. Comoros. Comoros is one of the most beautiful island countries in Africa. Located off the coast of Eastern Africa, Comoros has a population of about 850,000 people, and its official languages are French, Comorian and Arabic. Just like Eritrea, we have a dedicated video on Comoros. To check it out, click on the card on the left hand corner. Number 9. Central African Republic. Central African Republic is a country in Central Africa bordered by Cameroon, Chad, Sudan, and Congo. One of the reasons why this country is lesser known is because it is one of the least visited, poorest, and unsafe countries in Africa. With a population of over 4.7 million people, Central African Republic is the 44th largest country in the world and 21st in Africa by area, with a total surface area of about 622,000 square kilometers. French is the official language of the country, and its capital and largest city is Bangui. Considering the fact that this country is a landlocked country, agriculture is the main driving force of the country's economy. Number 10. Niger. Despite the fact that Niger is the 6th largest country in Africa by surface area and situated around the famous countries such as Nigeria and Mali, it is one of the least talked about countries in Africa. River Niger, where the country got its name from, is popular from the country itself. The country's predominantly Muslim population of about 22 million people live mostly in clusters in the far south and west of the country. The capital and largest city is Niamey, located in Niger's southwest corner. The official language of Niger is French, and its current president is Mahamadou Issoufou. The economy of Niger centers on subsistence, crops, livestock, and some of the world's largest uranium deposits. Drought cycles, desertification, a 2.9 population growth rate, and a drop in world demand for uranium have undercut the economy. Niger shares a common currency, the CFA franc, and a common central bank, the Central Bank of West African States, with 7 other members of the West African Monetary Union. Niger is also a member of the Organization of the Harmonization of Business Law in Africa, OHADA. There you have it, explorers. Those were the top 10 lesser-known countries in Africa. Let us know, explorers, which of these countries did you discover for the first time? Leave your responses in the comments. Thanks for watching this video. If you want us to cover any of the top 10 topics, leave your suggestions in the comments below and we will do well to grant your request. Also, if you did enjoy this video, do well to give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe and share with your friends.